I don't know how many of you have seen this image, but this is an image of quite a lot of importance in the world of science. This is the full-blown Hubble ultrafield. At face value, this just looks like a 2D photo of stars, but in reality, this depicts a 3D image of the universe. In this photo, Earth is but a tiny dot, barely visible. This just shows how small we are in the universe. But does that make us insignificant? No. So in this talk, I hope to show you how unique we are in the universe and how individual we are compared to each other. Now, how many galaxies do you think there are? 10,000? 100,000? There are 2 trillion galaxies in the universe. That is 2 with 12 zeros. Now, using this information, we can figure out how many planets there are. There are 10 to the 25 planets orbiting stars, with an additional number between 10 to the 26 and 10 to the 30 planets which aren't orbiting stars. To put this number in perspective, we'll look at grains of sand. There are between 2.5 to 10 sextillion grains of sand on our planet. Now, when we compare this to the number of planets, we find that there are roughly, at a bare minimum, 11,000 times more planets than grains of sand on Earth, but this number could even exceed 100 million times more. But how does this link to us being unique in the universe? Well, despite this and all the research scientists have put in to find new intelligent life forms in the universe, currently in the universe, the silence is deafening, and we are the only life form in the universe. As of yet. Now we've established our uniqueness in the universe, how are we unique compared to each other? There are many ways we are unique compared to each other. Some small things such as our hair, the subjects we study. One of these small things is footsteps. This is because no one walks the exact same as someone else. You could try and mimic someone's movement, but you'll never be exact. So footsteps is one way we are unique to each other. Another example of individuality is our birthdays. Believe it or not, in a room of 30 people, it's actually far more likely than you think that 2 people share the same birthday. To illustrate this, let's take the following example. Ben, John, Sarah, and Grace each pick a number between 1 and 5. What's the likelihood that 2 of them share a number? We'll start with John. John can choose from 5 different numbers. So let's say John picks the number 1. This now leaves Ben with 4 different numbers to choose from if he wants to pick a different number. So Ben picks the number 3. Now Sarah can choose from 3 different numbers if she wants a different number. So let's say Sarah picks the number 4. This leaves Grace with 2 numbers to choose from. When we multiply all these fractions together, we get the probability that none of them share a number. So to find the probability that 2 of them have a shared number, we just subtract this from 1, and we end up with a roughly 80% chance. When we apply this situation to the birthdays, we end up with a roughly 70% chance that 2 people in a room of 30 people share the same birthday. This makes our birthday seem like a not very unique thing. But what if we take into account more factors around the birthday, such as the time? We'll start with hours. There are 24 hours in a day and 365 days in a year. So when we combine these, we get a 1 in 8,760 chance you share the same birth hour as someone else. We can take this further and consider minutes. There are 60 minutes per hour, so we end up with a 1 in 525,600 chance you share the same birth minute of someone else. We can even take this down to seconds, and twins aren't even born in the same second. When we consider seconds in the equation, we end up with a 1 in 31,536,000 chance you share the same birth second as someone else. This is still quite likely in a population of 8 billion people, and it's estimated that there's probably 253 people on the planet who share this with you. But I reckon if you meet these people, they're probably your soulmates. But what if we take into account more factors around the birthday, such as the year you were born, the place. We can narrow down your birthday so much that it's something that only you have and no one else meets all the conditions required. So I hope this just shows that although at face value your birthday isn't a very unique thing, when you look at all the factors around it, it's something that only you have. Finally, a big way we are unique to each other is through our DNA. We all share 99% of the same DNA, but we also share 60% with a chicken and 40% with a banana. Despite this, no one has the exact same DNA, except for identical twins, but they're unique in themselves. It is theoretically possible for two same-sex siblings to share the same DNA, but the odds of this is 70 trillion. For two unrelated people to share the same DNA, the odds of this is essentially 0. So this just shows how unique our DNA makes us. To conclude, I hope that you've taken away from this talk how unique we are in the universe and how individual we are compared to each other through many different statistics such as genetics, our birth, or even something as simple as the way we walk. But we can look at different statistics for ages. But do we really need numbers to show we are individual to each other? Is individuality really just numbers? No. Individuality is far more than that. It is our everyday lives, the people we surround ourselves with, our friends, our families, and the choices we make that makes you, you. We don't need a statistic to show we all make our own choices. It's clear from the fact that no one is the same as someone else. So to conclude, individuality is all about you and the choices that you make that makes you, you. And no one can take that individuality away from you. Thank you.